All right. There's a little bit of banging in the background, but hopefully it won't pick up. So here we are again, Stu Beath.
Back at it.
Uh, dude, we had an excellent podcast, by the
That was a
way.
good one.
Dude, a lot of people like that one.
Did you get some? You got to get a good response to it.
Yeah, man, it's still in my top 10 even this month.
Really?
So whenever I look on the things, it will tell me like what's the top 10 for the 30 days.
Yep.
And like you're still in the top 10 for like
I like it.
that 30 days.
That's good.
Yeah, it's because you just have such a beautiful voice. It's
I
made
think that's what it is.
for the
Made for
po-
radio.
It really is. It really, really is.
Face made for radio too.
Yeah. So let's keep on with this conversation. We're talking about Bio Lane. Well,
Definitely.
that's his Instagram.
Lane Norton,
Lane Norton. So what do you think about that guy? I'm just curious.
super smart.
Very smart.
Very. He's a science guy.
Yeah.
Big into nutrition. I agree with pretty much everything he has to say.
Yeah.
I just wish he would go about some things in a little bit of a different manner.
He's very straightforward.
He's direct.
Yeah.
If he disagrees with you, or your stance on nutrition or disease or anything like that, he's coming after you, and he's coming after you in a relentless way.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of who he was until he did that JRE
Yeah.
with him and Dom D'Agostino.
Yeah, right. So on what was that on? That was Rogan.
Yeah, it was Rogan. It was
Yeah.
keto versus non-keto.
Keto versus non-keto.
But it wasn't even really a debate.
Right. It's just interesting to see like those are, coming from the health wellness industry. Those are two guys that in terms of nutrition that I think are at the top of the game.
Yeah.
In terms of knowledge and how smart they are, but they kind of come from different viewpoints.
Right.
So that was one of my favorite podcasts to listen to hear them kind of not really argue with each other, but really just have a good discussion.
Right.
And never really was any animosity or argument, because those are two guys that like to get into it
Yeah.
with other people that oppose them. No, but Lane's smart, but kind of like we were saying, he goes after people.
He really does.
And I feel like there's probably a better way to go about those things.
Yeah, I wonder though. He likes to use the word zealot. He likes to call people zealots.
He uses
Is he too dogmatic about science? Does he just throw out anecdotal evidence? Does he? You know what I mean? 'Cause
so that's interesting. So I feel like you and I are both pretty. We're spiritual, cerebral. Like I'm a big thing into I'm not all about the science.
it can't all be quantified.
Exactly. Like there's just some things that just
just
unexplainable
work.
and inexplicable, and I think he's not about that.
Right. Like when he was talking to Dom on JRE, Dom would say something and then he would ask these science questions like I don't even know what the fuck he was saying, but like what are the variables, or like what's this or what's that, and I can see where that would really stump some people. Like if you weren't like a hardcore scientist and you didn't know like what is the what did he ask what it was. I don't know. Was he asking like what was the baseline or something? But he used some other terminology. I don't know. I'm not as smart as that guy in that sense.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is watching him go after people, and attacking them. That makes me so hesitant. Like I'm sometimes so frightful to post stuff on social media, because I'm like, who's coming after me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm very
Yeah.
confident in what I know and in my philosophies on stuff. But like you get somebody like Lane Norton with 250,000 followers, and who's as smart as he is,
Yeah.
coming after you. Oof.
Yeah. I have an issue with the fact that he is so hung up on science that, for example, there's no evidence that like artificial sweeteners like diet soda will disrupt the microbiome. But like realistically, like seriously, like I understand that there's no science to necessarily validate that claim 100%. But like anecdotally, I mean, we can probably look and just use your fucking brain and say, hey, this chemical is probably not the best for my gut microbiome.
Right. No,
Like
I agree.
that just makes sense to me.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm no fucking scientist, so.
I agree.
Either way, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
We digress, Stu.
No, you're good.
We're here to talk about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just started a podcast.
Just started a podcast. We launched 4 episodes, and we have another 2 that we've recorded that are getting edited and waiting to be launched. SoberSet podcast.
SoberSet.
SoberSet.
How'd you come up with that name? Obviously
So
the sober part.
Sober
but-
part, and then set is kind of like a set or reps.
Okay.
So my friend Mark Sharp and I started the podcast, and we're both big into fitness. two sober guys that have suffered from alcoholism, drug addiction, and I kind of hesitate to use the word have overcome that because you've never overcome it.
It's like a
It's
constant every day.
constant every day. You're kind of battling, kind of fighting. Obviously, some days are better and some days are easier than others. But that's why I hesitate to use the word overcome. But for the time being, have overcome alcohol and drug addiction. And we both are big into fitness, big into working out, lifting weights. So that's how we kind of came up with SoberSet.
Yeah. So you guys, 4 episodes out now. You said
Yep.
you got 2 you're working on. I think you even said it on I know we just talked about it, but I think you said it on like the earlier podcast. You guys are doing this like early in the morning, like
Yep.
on a Sunday in the gym.
Sunday morning. We get there about 5:45, 6 a.m. and start recording.
Yeah.
Which we kind of talk about it on the podcast, but it's liberating to do that for us because we both have spent so many Saturday and Sunday mornings in a much different state of mind.
Yeah.
It's nice to get in there, super early in the morning and not be hungover or not be still out, in a drug-induced state. Both of our drug of choice was cocaine. We were huge into cocaine, and we both kind of had our party streaks.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of late nights, a lot of sleepless nights.
A lot of sleepless nights. It was looking back on it. It's kind of sad. It's kind of scary to think about some of the nights. Near death experiences.
Yeah, when you kind of look at it with like a clear head.
Yeah, it's like looking back on it. I mean, I haven't had a drink or a drug in over 2 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And looking back on it, I had a couple nights where it was like, man, how did I get out of that alive?
Yeah.
Whether it was, weird run-ins with drug dealers or, at 3 a.m. on the east side.
In St. Louis, of all places, yeah. This is the safe city as far as that area.
Right. And then, or just, one time, it was kind of getting late and my high was starting to wear down and had a bunch of cocaine left and decided to put it all up my nose and was laying in bed. My body was so physically exhausted, but my mind was just racing, and I literally it was a weird moment. I'll never forget it. My heart was just pounding in my chest. I could feel it, and I literally was like, my mom or dad's gonna find me here in my apartment in the Central West End at the time. This was 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I really thought I was gonna die that night. I remember that.
That's a scary feeling, dude.
It was scary. It was helpless. Like, I was so physically exhausted because I'd been going for so long. And then the worst thing is coming down from that high, because you get so high, so happy, everything's so good when you're on that drug, and then you just get hit with that ton of bricks when that high is gone. So as an addict, you're just chasing, like trying to avoid that down.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I was trying to avoid that down and almost overdosed and killed myself.
Fuck, dude. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that down is hard, though. I mean,
yeah.
Because, I mean, from a chemical standpoint, right, you went so high, there's like a rebound effect, right?
Yep.
All the way down.
Bam, all the way down.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, like looking back and thinking about, some of those nights and some of those experiences and experimenting with drugs. And like I said, it's sad and it's scary. But man, it makes life very beautiful now.
Yeah.
Very beautiful now.
Well, you have to go through the dark, right, to really appreciate the light. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
So when let's go back a little bit. What was your introduction to, like, when did you first kind of start altering your consciousness?
Definitely. So I feel like my partying and my alcohol use was very normal. In high school, I would party with friends. It was very normal.
Get some beer, some Natty Lights.
Exactly.
Get the 30 pack.
Exactly. Like I would have, 5 or 6 beers at a party on a Saturday night, like later in high school and college, typical college kid, drinking with friends.
Yeah.
And then it was after I played baseball in college, and then I tried to play professional baseball after college, and that didn't work out. And when that didn't work out, and I kind of knew my whole life, I was like, I want to play professional baseball. I want to be a Major League Baseball player. And when that kind of came crashing down, and that was apparent that it was not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out what the hell am I going to do with my life.
Yeah.
That's when that kind of moment that hit, like, I don't have anything. Like, there's nothing. So I mean, it was living for the weekends. I think I was giving hitting lessons on the side. I was like 23 or 24, like baseball hitting lessons. Knew I wasn't going to be a Major League Baseball player, so trying to figure out my life. And I was doing those hitting lessons during the day, and then just living for Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
And then I remember getting introduced to cocaine. I was probably 24 or 25. So, really there wasn't an issue. I didn't even think, looking back on it, there probably wasn't an issue with alcohol when I was in high school or college or even a little bit after college. But when I found cocaine, I remember the first time I ever did it, and I did that first line, and I remember thinking, because I have a very addictive personality as it is, I remember thinking, like, first of all, that was the most amazing thing that this is the most amazing feeling I've ever had.
Yeah.
And two, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So I was very, like, at the time, I remember being like, and then it runs in my family. Alcoholism, drug addiction runs in my family. So, and it's a very hereditary disease.
Yeah.
So I knew I
personality
was
trait.
predisposed to it. And then I remember that first hit of cocaine. I remember being like, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. It just felt so good.
Felt amazing. And it wasn't, until probably a little bit later on when I was like 30, a couple years later, that I couldn't have alcohol without having cocaine.
Yeah, it's like that classic. Oh, I never smoke unless I drink, or only,
Right.
It's like, well, the problem is you're always drinking.
And so and then it would get bad because I would tell myself, okay, I'm just drinking tonight. And then I would get put in these bad situations because I would start drinking, and then I would be like leaving wherever I was to go get cocaine and calling drug dealers. And really, like when you're an addict, when you're an alcoholic, like nobody else matters. It doesn't matter. Your kids, your wife, your friend, like nothing matters besides that high and
Really?
getting that high.
Yeah.
It's sad, really to think about. But yeah, when when things really started to take a turn for the worse, when I couldn't have one without the other, and then I started to like protect my addict self. So I would be sober, like let's say on a Monday morning, I'd be sitting there knowing that I had a big event on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
And so I would get the cocaine on Wednesday sober, knowing that, hey, my drunk self is going to be needing this.
Yeah.
So I would
Just kind of prep yourself.
prep myself. And so I wouldn't have to go get it, in the middle of whatever the event was,
What's
whether it
going
was
on.
whether it was a wedding or
Yeah.
a sporting event I was at that, I was going to be drinking at. So I would like be looking out, my sober self would be looking out for my drunk self.
Yeah.
Like he's going to want this.
Yeah. Well, you're thinking ahead. That's a good quality in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
Just not in
exactly.
that
We
manner.
just need to channel it towards the
right
other
things.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
I'm actually kind of shocked you didn't come across cocaine in high school.
Yeah.
Especially considering where you went. Because
Right.
let's just be honest. Like, cocaine's it's a wealthy person's drug
Yep.
for the most part.
Yeah.
And you went to
MICDS.
MICDS.
Yep. Well, MICDS, I went there 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade. Then I went to a boarding school, transferred to a boarding school in 10th grade.
Either
which
way.
is same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'll be totally honest. I never saw cocaine. Never really it was never around.
Yeah.
When I was in high school or college, I remember I played baseball in college. All our baseball guys, nobody wanted anything to do with drugs. There was another sports team on campus
Yeah.
that did a little bit of partying, and they had, Molly and cocaine and stuff like that. And we all thought, like, what a bunch of losers. Like, that's just that's
Yeah.
just weird. Like, who's
Judging.
Yeah, like, that's, like, give me my booze. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that nonsense. And even after college, I remember I looked so downly upon people that used cocaine. I thought that was just, like, a loser thing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I ended up.
We all do that though, right? When we're
Yeah.
young, we're so judgmental. I'm
Right.
far less judgmental now that I'm
Yeah.
31 than
Yeah.
when I was 21.
Right.
Like you look at somebody and whatever their situation is, and you tell yourself that could never be me.
Yeah.
How the fuck did you end up there, fucking
Mm-hmm.
loser? Yeah, my high school was a little bit different. I mean, I always smoked cannabis since I was like 14,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
13. I've been doing that, but then you start drinking. And then out of nowhere, cocaine did come around at my school. And my best friend, I had him on the podcast. We talked about it. He was deep into cocaine. He was dealing it. He was doing it all the time. He'd be up for days.
Yeah.
He would come into lunch and just sit there with his water,
Yeah.
like he's just sitting there drinking water because he was never hungry.
Right.
And I didn't know this at the time that this was an issue for him. I knew he was doing it, but I didn't understand like the severity of like how it can take over your life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I know some people. I've come across some people that are daily users. I was never like a daily user. I was a binge guy.
Yeah.
I would have an event. And same thing with alcohol. I never like I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict, but I never had a problem like abstaining from it for long periods of time. Like I was never like oh, it's Monday afternoon. Oh shit, I'm
I
getting
need
that
it.
itch. Like or
Yeah.
like right now, we're sitting here. It's Tuesday, and I like there's no desire.
Yeah.
I'm
It's like
not
you're thinking about it,
right.
it's
I'm not.
calling you.
I'm good right now. Like I'm not. The problem is when I'm at a wedding,
Yeah.
or if I go to like if I were to ever go to like Las Vegas for a weekend, like that's the type of thing that like I got to be very conscious of when there's like a big event or a bachelor party. Like I've avoided a couple bachelor parties the
Yeah.
last 2 years. And truth be told, like my brother's getting married next year and he's gonna have a bachelor party. I'm probably not gonna go.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. I can't put myself in that situation because
Yeah.
I just know, like I'm not mature. Like I don't.
Well,
think
those
I'm
are your
mature,
triggers,
right?
dude.
Like I'm not mature enough to be at a bachelor party with a bunch of dudes that are partying and doing God knows what. Even if
Yeah.
nobody's messing around with blow, but like
Well,
you're
yeah.
around a bunch of people drinking.
Yeah, you're
and
in that
partying.
atmosphere,
You're in that
the
like,
energy. You're just like, you know what can make this better?
exactly. That's exactly the thought process. That's the mind of an addict right there. Like
Dude, that's the problem. So, I mean, I have that. I'm not like an extremely addictive personality type, but I definitely have my things. Like for me, dude, I can't have ice cream in the house.
yeah,
I can't fucking do it. If there's a gallon of ice cream in there, it'll be
gone.
gone in 2 days. And like my girlfriend thought I was fucking around about that. Like we got what's like a quart and a half, like those little oval things. We bought it, and she's like, oh, like I'll just eat a little bit, and then she thought she was gonna have some the next day, and she came, it was gone. I fucking ate it.
it's fun. It's funny you say that. That's exactly how I am.
I can't.
Addictive personality, and like my wife will buy the same thing. We'll buy like one of those like quarts
Yeah.
of ice cream, and we'll have it. And she's thinking, oh, this will last us like 2 weeks, and I'll take it down.
It's like a day.
You know what I mean?
Like I can
Right.
sit here in one sitting and
Right.
eat this. It's taking everything in me to not eat this in one sitting.
Right now, I'd much rather have that problem than what I deal with taking down an 8 ball of cocaine in a
Yeah.
night versus
Absolutely.
versus that. But it's
Yeah.
I have an extremely addictive personality, and I'm addicted to the high.
Yes.
Like so you talk about like smoking cannabis. I think I've smoked weed in my life maybe 5 times, and all 5 just all experimental with people that have smoked many times before I did at that time, and I just never got anything out
Just
of it.
wasn't your thing.
I just don't like to be like mellowed.
Yeah.
I need to be like I need to
You need
go.
speed,
I
yeah.
want high, like speed, high cocaine. That like
Did you do like Adderall or anything?
Adderall.
Was that your shit in college?
Loved Adderall. A lot of Adderall in college. To get me, but not like to party.
To get you through studying.
Studying.
Yeah, but is that like the first
it's
step? You know what
Probably
I
a
mean?
big trigger because for people that haven't tried cocaine or Adderall, or have tried Adderall and haven't tried cocaine, it's kind of similar. I mean, cocaine's on a much different level.
Yeah.
I mean, it
It's
takes
like
you
on
there
a different scale.
but it's very similar. So
Similar compound though, it affects the brain the same way. So-
exactly. And I talked about this on our podcast. One of my go-tos was taking Adderall. A substantial amount of Adderall early in the day, starting to drink, getting to the point where I'm, almost blacking out, and then using that cocaine, and then here I go. Now
Yeah.
I'm ready to go, and it just kind of put me into that like perfect. And
Yeah.
it's sad to talk about because I knew exactly how to control my drugs and like my mind
Yeah.
to get to the ultimate like euphoria.
Right.
And I knew how long I had to until that started to come down. Usually around like 5 a.m. is when it was starting to like take a turn.
When did you start? So how long was the high?
I mean,
for
dude,
you?
I could go like we would like. There was a couple times, especially towards the end. I remember one time in particular, we played golf. We teed off at 9 a.m. and I had like 3. I don't even remember what the doses was, but I had 3 of them. I put 2 in my golf bag, Adderall. Took one before the round, took one at 9 holes, and then one at 18.
Oh shit.
We teed off at 9 a.m. Was drinking
Beers.
tons of. I probably had 12 to 15 beers on
Yeah.
the golf course, and then
Dude, and then they got the golf cart lady
Golf
coming
cart
around
lady.
giving you drinks and
Yep.
shit. Yep.
And then after the round, you're going to the bar, and that's when I'm kind of encouraging everybody to start to take this to the next level.
Yeah,
Some of the
it's
guys were
19th hole, baby.
like, some of the guys were like really starting to fade, and like I could tell like people were gonna call it a day. It's like 4 p.m. I'm like, no, I got the 8 ball in my bag, like we're ready to go. But they didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like this was just me, and I'm just trying
So
to.
you're
rally the
solo on
troops.
all this,
A lot
right?
of solo stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and this is another sad thing. Like, a lot of people, cocaine's a kind of a sexual drug. A lot of people will go cheat on their wives or go cheat on their girlfriends, and they need sex. I was weird, dude. I just wanted to go to a bar where I wouldn't know anybody, and I would just want to talk to people. and just like even dudes, I would just want to like talk and tell my story, and then I would get to the bar, start talking to these people, and I would literally think of these people as like my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, this is my guy. Like, and I would exchange numbers with these dudes.
Yeah, you're
because
probably like hugging them and
yeah,
shit.
like I remember this one guy. Yeah, exactly. This one guy in particular worked for like Monster Energy drink or something, and I think he was like a stock boy at some place. Like, not to say he's a nobody, but and I remember thinking like, this guy's gonna be like president of the United States. This guy's the man.
You see
like,
all the potential in the world.
right, and we're gonna do big things together. And then like you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my God, what did I just do?
Yeah.
What was I thinking? Because I'm at some hole in the wall bar where I knew I wasn't gonna know anybody.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna know me, which is exactly what I wanted, because I was going around. I mean, I'm sure everybody knew what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
That's
so interesting. So you go to these hole in the wall bars, right?
Yep.
How does that work? I mean, you just go in there, you grab your drink, and you just find some fucking people. You go sit down with them at their table, or do you
like you make a fool of yourself. Like so cocaine also too. I'm a very confident person as it is, and you get a little cocaine in me, and I think I'm fucking Brad Pitt, with the knowledge of the smartest person in the world. So I had just confidence through the roof. So I'd walk into these places, and I would think that I'm like the best looking guy in the bar. You know what I mean? You get these feelings of like euphoria, and you're the man.
Yeah,
nobody
can
can
fuck
stop
with you, man.
Yeah. I was never a fighter.
Right.
I would never like get aggressive with anybody.
But you walk in there, it's like I can have that chick if I wanted her. Like
that
chick, dude is
that dude wants to come talk to me because I'm cool.
like I'm so cool, dude. Like you want to be my friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I was, my thing was I'd have a bunch of cocaine in the pocket, and I'd usually, make a point every half hour or so to go reload in the bathroom and just, get back on my game. But just literally go like round the tables, just talk to people, just see, and it's funny because now like I look back on it, and that's kind of how I am now.
Yeah.
Like that's my personality. I'm very friendly.
Right.
I like talking to people. I like I'm not a fighter. A lot of people get cocaine in them. Like a couple buddies who I don't really talk to anymore. I honestly couldn't tell you where they are or what they're doing, but people that I ran with when I was doing that stuff were very aggressive on it.
Yeah, I don't get that
and
shit.
Really, like, I hated that because when I was on it, I was like, I wanted to be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
I wanted like peace, love, like everybody's having a great time, like party. Like not like, hey, let's go get aggressive with this other group of guys. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Some people, I feel like certain compounds will just enhance your own personality. Like whether or not you're necessarily like that when you're sober, is probably because you're just able to monitor those feelings and keep it in check. But you're deep down, nobody knows it, but you're feeling that way.
I've told a lot of people this. I feel like your true like drugs and alcohol kind of almost reveal a lot of your true because when you're drunk or when you're high on cocaine or something like that, you are who you are, but there's no consequences for your behavior, so you can go do whatever you're thinking.
Yeah.
Have
you heard the term drunk words but sober thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
100%.
Dude.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, some people, they're violent when they drink. Or I've never been that person. I would drink, and it's like I love everybody. Like how I can't even comprehend how you can become violent just because of a substance. Like how is this making you violent?
Right.
You know what I mean? What's going on with you internally?
I would always be weirded out by that. I wouldn't like it. It would make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like it kind of reveals some of your personality.
Yeah.
Because you'd always have like you knew in the back of your mind, hey, there's no consequences, and I would almost use it as an excuse. Like I can go look dumb right now because I'm high on cocaine.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
Oh
like,
I'm just high.
I can go. Yeah. Like it was almost an excuse, and like you didn't care, and that's why I would always try to go to. Because this sounds weird, I was very private about my cocaine use. Like I didn't want people knowing. Like I had a couple friends that I would do it with every once in a while, but like my favorite thing was just to have it privately by myself. And if we're out at the bar with everybody, I'm sneaking off to the bathroom every half hour, 45 minutes. My wife, she has never used, and towards the end, knew that there was something really wrong, but was very naive to what it all is. Man. Yeah, she was. I think she was very naive. She's not familiar with the drug or with the use, or she hasn't been around people that have used it. So she was very naive, and we always laugh because she was like, "Yeah, I was." Towards the end, I was like, God, this guy has to pee a lot. I'm going to the bathroom every 30
Hey guys, I'll be
minutes.
right back. I gotta go.
Yeah, and then come
Weak
back
bladder.
and then you come back and you're just geared up and ready to talk to whoever.
That is hilarious. You
Yeah.
just needed that release.
Yep.
And
But
yeah, fuck, dude.
and it's just the way where I was going was not sustainable. I thank God every day that I am where I am now.
Yeah.
That I've figured that out, because that was just a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety came with that stuff. Because towards the end, like I deep down, I knew when I was using it, when I wasn't using it, even when I was sober, I knew that there was a big problem and I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Like I was very helpless. But then once I kind of figured out, okay, there's a real problem, I was able to kind of start to get over that hump.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we can't do this. You can't you can't socially drink. Like, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
I was never somebody that wanted a beer or two at happy hour or a drink or two. Like I'm sure you've gone out and had a drink or two.
Yeah.
And then come home and you go to bed, whatever.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah, it's a tough feeling to deal with, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's a disease. Like, and it's weird because like people don't necessarily like understand or comprehend. Like, somebody who hasn't dealt with it,
yeah.
like, might not comprehend or understand. It's like, dude, just have a drink with your friends or two,
Yeah.
and then go home. And it's hard. Like, I can't explain it. Like, I can't. Like, it's literally like it's a disease, and like I
Yeah.
have zero interest in doing that.
I kind of go on both sides of that in the sense of, I mean, I definitely have some addictive traits, but I have it. I mean, it's never gotten out of hand for me.
Yeah.
So like it's things like fucking like sugar and certain foods and things like food can be a real trigger for me. Like, I grew up as a fat kid, but I've only done Adderall once, and that was actually pretty recently. Just to try it, to be honest with you.
Get a lot of work done.
Yeah, I was fucking tuned in, bro.
Yeah.
It actually kind of almost reminded me, like, I've been taking kratom, which is it's just a plant. It's in the coffee family.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me just like taking some kratom and drinking some coffee or something. But I was really tuned in. I've never tried cocaine before.
Yep.
I've only had like one opportunity. I was sitting in the car. I was in high school,
Yep.
and I was with a few buddies on the wrestling team. And I think it was with my 103 pounder. And he's like, "Here, man, if you want to try it." But then he talked me out of it. Dude. He goes, I don't know if he talked me out of it because he just wanted the cocaine for
More
himself.
yeah.
Probably all it was. But he was like, honestly, Adam, he's like, if you want to do it, dude, you can. But honestly, you're probably not going to get high this first time.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you got a lot going for you, dude. You don't want to do this.
Like, I would highly recommend not trying cocaine.
Yeah, I've never tried
Like,
it.
especially if you have any kind of addictive personality. Like, it's not one of those things like I'm a big fan of, like, hey, try stuff, like go skydiving, do things like that are out there, but like that is a slippery slope, like messing around with that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Because like if you have like, I just know for me, like the second that stuff hit my like senses, I was like, this is not good.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to live a normal life after that. Like, because obviously I was a social drinker, but then the social drinking turned into like, I can't drink without using the drug.
Right.
And I just loved it. I mean, I loved cocaine.
Right.
Like, more than anything in the whole world. As crazy as that sounds, like, that was my thing.
Well, humans, I mean, we like to alter our consciousness.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah, and that's a great point right there. Like, I think that stems to, like,
animals do too.
Yeah, like, so going back kind of what I was talking about earlier, like, the whole professional baseball thing didn't work out, and I was like looking for something. Like, I needed more. Like, that was kind of my high my whole life growing up. I was like, baseball. Like, I can't wait to get to the big leagues. Like, it's gonna happen. And then I didn't really even come close. And then I was like, I need something. Like, there's nothing.
But the hope is gone now, right?
The hope is gone.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, my alcohol, I'm partying to excess, and then it's like, oh shit, I just got introduced to this drug, which is not only is gonna heighten my, my buzz, but also, oh shit, now I can party a lot longer.
Right. So you were partying pretty hard at that moment because there's a little bit of a gap, right? So baseball's done. Cocaine hasn't come into the picture yet.
Nope. Hadn't come into the picture.
So at that point you're partying hard. Is alcohol kind of starting to become a problem? Any like
I don't think
blacking
alcohol,
out or anything like that?
No.
No.
I mean, I don't think it was never like a huge.
Just a lot of fun.
Yeah, like looking back on it, it was all normal behavior, I think, from a 22, 23-year-old. that's done with college.
Yeah.
Like I was partying with my friends. We were all drinking.
Yeah.
You know, were we drinking to excess? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but like and partying. But was it getting out of control, or was it anything that I couldn't handle? Probably
Right.
not. It
Yeah.
wasn't really
Well,
until
no
like
DUIs, so
no
that's
DUI.
good.
Yeah, no DUI. Like, and that's another thing, dude. I never like a lot of drug addicts, a lot of alcoholics got to hit that rock bottom. They got to get arrested, kill somebody like by
Dude, that shit
with a
scares the
car.
fuck
Yeah,
out of me to
like
do
I am
that.
so lucky that my rock bottom was. I mean, I had about 3 final chances with my wife. You know, before.
Yeah,
You
well, when you
know,
have like that significant other that's super important to
Yeah.
you, like the
Yeah.
thought of losing that person.
that freaks you out. But like I said earlier, man, that drug is more powerful.
Yeah.
It takes over and it gets a hold of you and it won't let go.
Yeah.
And even now to this day, like I still got the bad dog in the ear. Like dude, I'll be thinking about it. And I haven't told anybody this or I haven't talked about this on my podcast yet, and I'm sure I will. But like, dude, I've got this like thought in my head of, okay, what if I won the lottery? Dude, I could go to a different country. I could go to Las Vegas and I could just party for a weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I kind of reel myself back. Like, no,
Yeah,
dude, you've worked so hard to get to where you are now. Like, you can't go back to that.
Yeah.
And it's like this like little fight, you know,
Yeah.
where I get these like thoughts in my head, like, what if I was in Las Vegas right now and nobody knew me?
Right.
They didn't, you know, I'm very open about my sobriety around St. Louis. You know, people know that I don't drink, so I wouldn't enjoy going out because
Yeah.
of fear of like seeing somebody. But like sometimes I think like, what if I was in like Las Vegas or Los Angeles where
There's no accountability.
no accountability. Like I could do whatever I wanted. That'd be pretty fun. I could get that high again.
Yeah.
And then I gotta reel myself back in.
There's something to that though, right? When you know that people aren't watching, you feel like you can kind of get away with it.
Get away with
It's
it.
like, all right,
Yeah.
who gives a fuck, man?
Which is a scary thought.
You're only accountable to yourself
Right.
at that point, and you're just like, I don't care.
Which is why I really am very careful about where I go, who I'm with.
Yeah.
Like I love when my wife's with me. You know, if I'm going on a trip, she knows what's up, or a family,
Yeah.
people, or a close, if I have close friends, if I'm
Yeah.
going out of town. Because honestly, going out of town scares me a little bit. It's like, what's gonna happen? What dog is gonna take over? What's a voice gonna be in my head that's like, hey, it's okay, like,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna be like, hey, go drink a ton and do a bunch of cocaine. It's gonna be like, hey, dude, like, just go sit at that bar. Don't even drink. Just go sit there.
No,
You know what I mean? It's just like a little,
tempting,
just a
little
little, yeah. It's
tease,
like this like little bad devil.
Yeah, it's like,
in your-
just come on in,
just
dude.
come on in.
You don't gotta
Just
do anything.
Don't do
Just
anything.
hang out.
And then the next thing you know, it's like 12 hours later, and you've killed an 8-ball of cocaine and God knows how many drinks. And and I'll be totally honest, dude. If I were to ever relapse, like it would be really hard to like mentally come back from that.
Yeah.
Like I just thinking about it like really scares me. It's part of my driver
Mm-hmm.
for staying sober. Is thinking about like how awful that would be mentally. Like I've been sober a little over 2 years now, and I work my ass off daily. Thinking about it, being conscious about it. And if that were to ever happen, first of all, if I were to relapse, it wouldn't be like, hey, we're drinking 2 drinks. It would be like, it would be game on, and it would be,
Go get a fifth and
yeah,
an 8-ball.
and it would be over.
Yeah.
And then that would be really hard to like mentally come back from, because I've worked so hard for something for 2 years.
Yeah.
That it would be, imagine like working so hard for, you're training for like, let's say you're a UFC fighter. You're working for a year and a half on, getting ready for this fight. And then all of a sudden that just gets like taken from you.
Yeah.
Like you can't go fight that guy. It's over.
Yeah,
You
dude,
know?
it sucks.
It's like, like I said, it's kind of one of my drivers for
Yeah.
staying sober.
So, a lot of times when people quit something, they just inevitably replace it with something else.
Mm-hmm.
Did you try to quit before, and then like, did you have any failed attempts, or did you just like, you know what, I just need to stop, and then you went cold turkey, or like, what was your process?
Not
for
any.
quitting?
There was a couple times where I was like, I'm not going to drink for 2 weeks, or I'm not going to party for a month. And
Yeah.
I was able to do that.
Yeah.
And I always look back and I'm like, okay, that was kind of my relapse, but I never broadcasted it to people. I was
Yeah.
never like, I've got a problem. It wasn't until I really like sent some text messages to friends, talked to my parents, talked to my wife, like, okay, I can't drink anymore. When I started to broadcast it to the world, that's when it made it a lot easier. And that's when I was able to like stop.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it was normal, like, when I didn't broadcast it to anybody, it was normal to see Stu drinking.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't.
It's just it's what everybody
Yeah.
does, man.
Now, if somebody were to see me drinking that knows me, would be like, "What the fuck are you doing,
Yeah.
dude?"
Now people know.
So I've got that accountability, which is why going out of town or that worries me. Like I
Yeah, you can't go to Vegas.
no,
Like that's
dude,
just a city you can't go to.
Vegas was my jam.
Yeah.
I loved Vegas.
I've only been one time. I went last year, and it was
I don't
a
think I could
blast.
go. The only way I think I could go to Vegas if I was with my wife, and it was very like, hey,
Very
we're doing
controlled.
spa, we're doing nice
We're
dinners,
going, yeah,
you
or I'd
know.
say go golfing, but maybe not even then. Right? Is
Right.
that a trigger?
Yeah,
Is golfing a trigger for you?
it's tough. Like I love to golf.
Yeah, it's such a fun
I
sport,
love
dude.
to golf. It's very relaxing for me. I love
Yeah.
like being outside. I love kind of being in nature. I love like
3-4 hours out in the course. Yeah,
yep.
man.
I wouldn't call it a trigger, but sometimes I get a little weird.
Yeah.
Like if I'm out with like some of my buddies and they're all pounding beers,
Yeah.
it can get a little weird sometimes for me. But if like I'm out with my brothers and my dad, like,
Yeah.
it's not a big.
It's got to be the right people. Got to be in the right
people,
mindset.
the right people, the right mindset. Like I'm not trying to go play golf with people that don't know me,
Yeah.
that are pounding and partying and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
you
just
know?
no bueno.
And and this is something that and I've got 2 years sober, so I'm still relatively new to this sobriety and relatively young in this journey. But hopefully I can get over that stuff.
Yeah.
I want to be able to get to a point where, you know what, I can go to Vegas and not worry about that stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I know it's going to be an ongoing battle literally till the day I die.
Yeah.
To fight, substance and
Yeah.
alcoholism and addiction. But like I have a very close family member of mine that suffers from the same disease that has 20 plus years, and he's able to do everything, like and have a great time. You know what I mean? He's kind of gotten past that point of where I'm at right now, which is like, okay, I'm a little worried about certain situations.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go find myself in Vegas by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to go to my brother's bachelor party in wherever it's going to be. Let's say it's Phoenix,
Yeah.
with a bunch of dudes, his buddies that I don't really know that well, and
Yeah, they're all there for a good time,
right,
dude.
and they don't know me.
Someone calls
you
a
know?
stripper. Next thing you know, you got an 8 ball, and we're fucking snorting
game,
wines.
and it's game on. Like
Yeah, dude.
and so I think I've done a really good job of keeping myself out of situations like that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna continue to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, even sitting here right now talking about it, it's like, what if I was in, what if I went to Australia for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Like nobody would know.
It's so easy to romanticize that type of stuff,
Yeah.
right? And then you get in that moment, and you're just like, "Fuck, dude, you're so mad at yourself."
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
like, why the fuck did I do
We just
that?
you gotta come back to reality. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like my life right now is so beautiful. I have a 11-month-old daughter who's the most beautiful girl in the whole world. My wife is the most amazing person, and I have the gym that I own is doing really well. Like there's just nothing to complain about. So
Yeah.
that's my high now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you think maybe like you come from, it seems like a pretty solid family structure. Do you
Yep.
think having that family and that community kept you from hitting like that true rock bottom that some other people
100%. 100%. And I think it's been astronomical in my recovery.
Absolutely.
Like I
it's
don't
mandatory for recovery.
Like I can't imagine if I didn't have my wife and my parents and and some of my close friends have been very supportive. I don't know how I would have.
Are you familiar with any of like the addiction studies that they've done with mice and different things, like
Yeah,
Rat
a little.
City?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, community. So for the listeners, right? They gave a mouse the option of cocaine and water, and he was in the mice are in a cage by themselves at this point, and they will take the cocaine until they die, right? But you give them those same options, but then you put them like in this rat city, like this community of rats, and they have all these different things they can do. Maybe they'll try the cocaine, but then they won't go back to it again.
Yeah, having distractions is key. Like fitness is a big thing too for me.
Yeah.
I work out and I'm a big morning person, so I'm always up. My alarm goes off at like 4:15 every day.
Yeah.
Saturdays and Sundays usually off at like 5:30. But I'm up and I'm moving, coaching. I've got like 10 people that I train at 5 a.m. every day during the week.
That purpose is huge.
Yeah, and like I said, like we talked about earlier, having accountability, like having my wife, having my mom and my dad, and another thing, so my dad, he's my family member that has 20 years sober, who's suffered from the same thing. Like having him as a resource has been huge.
He's walked that journey.
He did went down the same journey.
Was cocaine also
his cocaine? Yeah,
Oh,
same
shit.
thing. So I mean, like when we talk to each other, we're like the same.
Yeah,
what
you
he
are
did,
your
what
dad.
it's
Isn't that
amazing.
weird?
Yeah, and then now that this is another thing that's kind of weird too. Like since I got sober, like I'm so much more aware of myself and who I am. Like even my voice. Like, I remember when I was like 2 years ago when I was still using, like, I had this vision of almost what I looked like and what my voice sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would hear it like on a like on the like a karaoke, or you'd
Yeah,
hear it or
you hear it
something,
back.
and I'd be like, "Whoa, I sound like that?
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. I don't think I sound like that." But
Yeah.
now that's how I sound to myself.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, but I just think it's just I'm so
You
much.
sound to yourself like the weird way?
No, now I sound like what I think I sound
Oh,
like.
okay.
But
Not
before
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, that's what I sound like."
Yeah, you had like this false
I was
perception
like, "Who
of
is that
yourself,
guy?" I
right?
was like, "Who is that person? That's not how I talk. That's not what I sound like."
Yeah.
It's like, "Yeah, it is. That's on recording right there."
Yeah.
But now I'm like so much aware. I'm like, "Yeah, that's that's me. That's what
Yeah.
I sound like." And I've also too, like, I see like some mannerisms. Like, I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm my dad,"
Yeah.
which is a good thing. Like, he's an unbelievable man, and he's overcome kind of what I've overcome now for 20 plus years. But like going back, like, I don't know how I would have done that without that family,
Yeah.
that structure, and that accountability.
Yeah.
It's and it makes me sad, because I know there's probably people out there that are going through or went through what I went through,
Yeah.
and they don't have the accountability, or they don't have the upbringing that I was blessed to have,
Right.
and they're in trouble.
Yeah, and I guess that's where a lot of like AA groups or NA, is it Narcotics Anonymous?
NA and
NA,
then NA is narcotics, and
and
then
then AA is
AA is
alcohol.
alcohol. Yeah.
Right. So you get that community there, but what
Yeah.
happens? That's only once a week, or I guess you could probably go to a meeting every day at different spots.
Yeah.
But what happens when you go home?
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting too. So ever since I got sober 2+ years ago, and I've kind of become open about it, I've had a lot of people reach out, and I've talked to a lot of people that are, whether it's their brother or their family member or whoever, their friend is going through something similar. It's amazing to see, like, who's kind of doing well with recovery and who's not.
Yeah.
Like, I know people that have gone and spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on rehab centers multiple
Yeah.
times, and it's not working. Myself, I never went to rehab. I went to a couple AA meetings, but I haven't been to an AA meeting in almost a year.
Okay.
I've kind of figured out what works for me in my
Right.
sobriety and how I need to stay sober. And that all goes back to, like, family and wife and, my kid. But I look at some of these other people, and it's like they're spending tens of thousands of dollars at these rehab centers, and it's not working.
Yeah.
And I think it's all because, at the end of the day, you have to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And there needs to be purpose. And I remember the second I got sober, when I really kind of, this was, I got sober December 10th of 2016. And I remember within that and that was when I was like, okay, this is, like, I don't know, I can't explain what happened in my mind, but it was like, this is done. Like,
a light switch
I can't,
clicked.
yep, I can't do it. I can't have another drink ever again. It's not like, oh, I can't do the cocaine anymore, but I can still drink. It's like, no substances. Like, that can't happen. And I started to broadcast that, and then I remember, like, things started to happen in my favor, like good things, like the gym thing. I got an email literally within like 2 weeks and I'm a big law of attraction guy. I'm a huge believer.
I'm all about it.
And I remember, like, I got this email, and it was a pretty big email from the guy that owns the baseball training facility that we're inside, and it was very along the lines of, like, we need somebody to open a gym in here. You own the gym, like, it's a separate entity from the baseball thing. And I remember being like, oh wow, this is like what I've always wanted.
Yeah.
And then just, like, it's amazing to have the last 2 years I've been sober, like, the things that have fallen in place.
Yeah.
Sometimes I pinch myself. I'll be standing in the gym, and I'll just be like, I'll have, like this morning I was training. I had 4 professional baseball players, 2 of which had a really good chance to make the big leagues, and a professional MMA fighter. And I'm training all these guys. I'm like looking up, and I'm like, I own this gym, and here I am training, like, these guys. Like, this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Train these athletes. I'm like pinching myself, like, this is heaven. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you wouldn't have been able to fully appreciate it if you had gotten it prior.
And it would have never happened.
Yeah,
it would have never manifested.
Or just think, what if it started and you're in the midst of your cocaine and then you fucking lost it all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, like, this is another weird thing, and I haven't really talked about this much. Like, I've trained people high on cocaine before.
Yeah.
I remember this was a long time ago, and I was
a little bump to pick you up in the morning. Huh?
it was one of those. It was the same night that Monster Energy guy that the story I told about it. I had a buddy's wedding, Friday night rehearsal dinner, just got absolutely bombed. Was out till 5 in the morning. Was at Pepper Lounge. Was at we went to the casino late night, and then back to that dude's place. There was a bunch of people there, just getting crazy. And I remember my buddy's wedding was the next day, and I was training. I was training a couple, a man and a woman who had a kid, at like 9 in the morning. And I remember I got home. My wife is just beyond livid. She's like, "What are you? It's 6:30 in the morning. Like, what is going on?" And I remember being like, "I got to take a nap because I got to go train these people." And I couldn't take a nap. I was just like sitting around the house. She left because she was going out and hanging out with some friends for brunch or whatever beforehand. And then I remember going into the gym, had a bunch of cocaine left over from the night before that I was going to be using for the wedding that night.
Okay.
And I remember being in the bathroom right before they got there and being like, I need to do this to get
through
and
it.
I trained them high. And I remember being like, feeling really weird.
Yeah.
Like, and then kind of knowing like this, I'm off right now. Like, I'm not myself. Like I'm jittery. I'm like, they've got to know something weird is going on.
That jittery feeling sucks,
Oh,
dude. Your heart's racing, like your hands racing. I've done that with just like too much coffee or before.
And even like talking to you about it right now, it's like, it's a shame. It's like shameful. Like what? Yeah. Like it's sad. Like what the fuck are you doing?
It's crazy to think about though, but that's the life of a lot of successful people.
Yeah.
A lot of successful business people too.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing. Like there's a lot of dudes out there just fucking doing coke and striking business deals because everybody's their fucking best friend and every idea is great. Like, let's fucking do this.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly how it was too. And this was before I really was I'm not saying I'm anybody now, but like,
well, you're taking steps to become the person that you know you are.
I was, I was a nobody, and I thought I was the shit, and I thought this random dude here who I'm talking to, who's like a whatever, is me and him are gonna,
we're about to fucking
take
start
over
the
the
Fortune
world.
500
Right,
company, dude.
right.
I think of like, I mean, I watched a lot of movies growing up, but I think of like in movies where it's a scene like the guy wakes up the next morning and he's like, what the fuck happened? And then in his mind, he's like, oh man, I did this, and then they flash to the next scene. It's really him, just like, what's up, ladies?
I know.
And he thought he was just like, the suave motherfucker.
Like, dude, I think back on it, I'm like, I kind of wish I had a camera on me for a lot of those nights, but I kind of wish I didn't. I don't, I don't know if I want to see that or hear myself. Man.
So, did you have any? When we talked about your family and like the community aspect, but were there any other are there any other things that have like protocols or practices that you've had or that you've done, at least maybe in the beginning, with like journaling, or do you have like a daily gratitude practice, or what other like techniques kind of help
recovery?
You? Yeah, for recovery.
So in the beginning, I was going to I saw a therapist, an addiction specialist.
Okay.
Addiction therapist.
So like talk therapy?
Yep, talk therapy. I would go once a week.
Okay.
The first couple sessions, I remember my parents would come, and then I saw him once a week for like 6 months. Like the first 6 months I was sober. And that helped a lot. Just kind of talking about understanding the disease and understanding like what is addiction, and then hearing him talk about other people that he's seen and being like, okay, helping me realize, okay, I'm not insane. Like this is what this drug does. Like this is okay. I'm not saying it's normal, but yeah, when you're on cocaine, you're going to be out till this is what happens.
Yeah.
So it helped a lot. And then I'll never forget one thing he said to me. We talked about my dad, but I have a few other family members that are recovered, that struggled the same disease I did, that have overcome, but that are living a recovery.
They've gotten a grasp on it.
They're living in recovery, and I'll never forget the addiction therapist said, "Yeah, addiction runs rampant through your family, but so does recovery." And I remember hearing that and being
powerful.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah,
and I'll never forget that. And that kind of stuck with me. Like, okay, I got a shot here.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of families where people die.
Some people are just losers, dude.
Yeah, and they can't they don't figure it out, and they overdose or something.
I'm listening to you. Keep talking.
Something bad happens.
I think my phone just died. I'm still listening. Dude, that's true, though. That's a powerful fucking statement to say that, so, like, recovery is also rampant in your family, because at that point now it becomes possible.
Yeah.
Because the human mind is such a... We might only have half video for this one. It's okay. That's my fault.
No, we're good.
Yeah, that's powerful, because you see it all the time just in humans. things aren't possible sometimes until maybe we see them done, or like there's an example. And I think of like the 4 minute mile. People
Yeah.
thought that was impossible, but now you have high school kids regularly breaking.
Dude, I see it in the gym all the time with stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, I remember thinking a 400-pound squat was, like, unattainable. And now, dude, I have guys in my gym squatting 900 pounds.
Yeah.
And,
And then the possibilities just open
and
now.
you see that and you're like, okay. And then, or like times on certain, efforts on the rower or the ski erg or the airdyne. It's like, no one's going to beat this time. And then the next thing you know, somebody smashes it,
Yeah.
But no, going back to it, it's, seeing multiple family members, and especially someone that's as close, to me as my dad, that have, and then when everybody kind of found out that I was dealing with this, then people were open about talking to me about their stories, in my family that are in recovery, telling me like, hey, this is what I went through.
Yeah.
This is what happens. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then seeing like, hey, living a sober life, like, it's okay.
Right.
Like, you don't need to go rage. You know what I mean?
Right. Society makes you feel bad for, especially if you don't drink.
Yeah.
You go out, because I've actually been kind of,
I feel weird about it. I've always feel weird about it.
yeah.
Like, I get offered a drink, from somebody that doesn't, they don't know me, or they don't, and I always am like, I feel weird being like, no,
Yeah.
I don't drink. Like, you almost feel like rude.
Yeah, but it's not wrong. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I've been kind of wrestling with for the past few years. I keep telling myself like I'm probably gonna. I don't drink often. I'm much more of a social drinker,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really like the way I feel the next day, man.
Yeah.
I feel all like bloated. I can feel like I'm holding water, and I feel tight, and I just don't. I know I don't get good sleep.
Right.
But you go out and people just act like if you don't have a drink in your hand, it makes them uncomfortable.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, like, and I'm not bashing drinking. Like, there are many people that can, drink socially. Like,
Do
there's
it just fine.
nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, like, it's poison.
It is poison,
Like, it's-
and it's one of the first poisons we're introduced
Yeah.
to. And
Right.
we're told it's okay. Like,
Right.
like for me being a cannabis user, like I wrestled when I was young, not like the physical wrestling, but like I wrestled with the fact that you're always being told that this compound is bad, but this one is okay to do. So then I would be like, all right, man, I'm just gonna quit. I'm gonna quit smoking because I need to get my life together. I'm gonna focus. But then I would just inevitably start drinking more, which is harder on my body.
Yeah.
And then now if I don't drink or something, like I don't really feel the pressure anymore, but I can think of an instance to where like you go out and then if you don't have something in your hand, you kind of feel awkward a little bit.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is looking at you like, why aren't you drinking?
Right.
Like,
Yeah. So as an alcoholic, like, my go-to is like, I'll club soda and lime.
Yeah.
It looks like a drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that probably because
Club soda and lime is always my go-to. I think it tastes good too.
yeah,
And it's something different than just water.
yeah,
So you're out, and it's like, okay, this is my cocktail. Like, my dad drinks, what does he drink? Cranberry and Club.
yeah.
It's like his cocktail.
It's got some fizz in
It's
there.
got a little, yeah, it's something different than just plain like ice water.
Right.
And for you feel a little bit better about yourself that you've got like something in your hand that's not just like ice
Right.
water where like oh, why isn't that person drinking? What are they watching their weight or whatever? It's like,
Yeah.
no, if I have that drink, I'm gonna spiral and
Right.
might end up killing myself.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy how we just accept everybody poisoning themselves on a regular basis with that particular compound.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then I mean, sugar.
Yeah.
I mean that lights up the brain just the same as cocaine.
Right.
I think about
think-
that too.
I think-
That is a fucking drug,
I
dude.
know.
Sugar is a drug.
I don't want to speak on something I'm not 100% sure, but I think sugar and cocaine are two of the most addicting substances.
100%,
I
yeah.
think sugar might even be
more
the
so,
most.
more so.
I think sugar.
It lights
yeah.
up. Yeah, like cocaine lights up a certain area of your brain. Sugar
Right,
lights up
like
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we give it to babies at once.
Yeah,
Like,
there's.
and-
I
younger.
again, I don't want to speak on something I'm not 100% sure about, but I'm
I'll
pretty
talk out
sure
of my ass. I don't care.
Sugar. Yeah, I've read something about sugar being.
So people don't look at it as a drug, but if you look at it, so okay, the coca leaf in itself, people chew on that all the time. It's not super addictive, and it's not, you don't get this fucking crazy rush, but it's like coffee essentially, right? It's just a coca leaf.
Yeah.
But then you take it through this process, you extract, or you fucking, I don't know what the whole process is, but then you get this concentrated molecule of cocaine, which has been extracted from the coca leaf. It's the same thing for sugar, right? I mean, you have sugar cane, and then now you take it through this process, and now you have this concentrated form of white sugar, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah,
But one
exactly.
we put in food and it tastes good, and we say
Yeah.
it's okay. But sugar high, you know what I mean? Kids get in that rush.
Or like it's it's like I said, like you can have a sugar addiction,
What?
like
One hundred
or you
percent.
can be like, and I'm guilty of it too. It's like, oh, I'm watching a movie on a Saturday night. Like, okay, I can't watch this movie without having my pint of Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
sometimes for me 2 pints of Ben and Jerry's
Right.
ice cream.
You can be addicted to anything.
Yeah.
You really, really
Yeah.
can.
We, yeah,
Some.
we talk about it on our podcast. Like, and our podcast too isn't just for people that are suffering from, alcohol or drug addiction, but, like sex addiction,
Sex addiction.
food addiction,
Gambling.
gambling, exactly. I think, food addiction is very prevalent.
A lot of people
because
deal
it's
with
stuff
that.
that people, now that we're talking about it, I'm kind of thinking, and I like to go, but like,
Oh yeah.
like,
Feel free.
it's like stress relieving or like escapism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I find myself to this day still like I'll use food as like an addiction from like anxiety or stress. Like if something's at the gym that's stressing me out, like okay, call my wife. Like, what are we doing for dinner tonight? Okay, let's do something a little different because I need to like cope with this anxiety that I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I did with alcohol and drugs.
Right.
Like it would just be like on the weekend. I'd be like, oh, like I'm stressed, but just get to Friday, and then
Yeah.
all that stress and all that anxiety is gonna be gone. But it's gonna be back 10 times on Monday.
It really, certain carbohydrates will, there. It's like I don't know which compound, but I want to say like an opioid, but like it hits a certain receptor in your brain. Like carbohydrates do that,
Yeah.
so they kind of are like a drug,
Right.
and they definitely can be. That's why like I talked about ice cream, but there's just certain foods that
Well,
I can't.
yeah.
I'll eat it all.
It's stuff that feels good.
Yeah.
Like sex, eating. Like getting that like
That pleasure.
satisfying.
Aubrey
Yeah.
Marcus says that a lot. He's like, is the temporary mouth pleasure worth like the long term thing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like a good quote. It's don't sacrifice for you want most for what you want now. You know what I mean?
That's a good one.
So yeah, and like most good things are worth
Yeah.
worth waiting on.
Yeah, they really are, man.
You
It's
know?
it's about that delay gratification,
that's-
not the
and,
instant.
And that's why like that cocaine, that alcohol, that is an instant gratification. That is like, okay, I know if I have alcohol or cocaine right now, I'm good, and it takes
Does that
5
release
seconds.
dopamine? Do you know?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because I mean, serotonin is like the delay gratification. That's the
Right.
long term feel good, and then
Right.
dopamine is the now. So
Yeah.
I would imagine. I wonder if there's like just a rush of dope. I mean, I imagine there
I
has
think
to
it
be.
is.
There
yeah,
has to be,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just a
But
rush of
you
dopamine.
get that with slamming booze or
Yeah.
like taking that hit, like a hit of cocaine will give you instant like super pleasure, super high, like this is like life is amazing type of thing. Same with sex. I mean, you can get
Yeah.
that, like that's
Yeah.
immediate pleasure. But like things that are like worth waiting, like
They make you way happier.
like growing a business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that stuff like that doesn't happen overnight.
No.
You have to like work and work
Yeah.
and work.
Yeah.
That's why like you
Aggressive patience.
delay gratification.
Yeah, dude, it's so important. Whenever I was fighting, there are so many times when like, you're cutting weight and you want to eat now, but I just tell myself, just think about how happy you're going to be in the morning when you step on that scale and you're a pound lighter. Like, are you going to be as happy now if you eat like that fucking ice cream tonight?
Right.
Just think about how happy you'll be tomorrow, and that would always drive me. How happy will you be tomorrow? How happy will you be tomorrow?
When
Just
you
think-
when you wake up tomorrow and you didn't have that cookies and brownie or whatever,
you feel so
Yeah.
good, dude. And
Yep.
then it's like energized. It's like, yeah, I can do that. And you start feeling
Exactly.
better.
And then it's like a little win, and then you get
Yeah.
momentum.
Another one, another one, another one.
Yep.
So you've used the word disease a few times and addict, and words are super important. Have you ever? I'm not saying it's not a disease, but I sometimes wonder, is it a good thing to label certain things, like to put yourself in a box or to say you are this? Because then is it too easy to then identify with that?
I like to.
Yeah.
I like to. It is a disease. And it's hereditary. I mean, it's something that like it is what I am. You know what I mean? Like I am an alcoholic. Like I can't. There's no like going around it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't go have social drinks.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's something like I don't know if I was. I said it was hereditary, but I don't necessarily know if I was born with it or I just kind of
Yeah.
adapted.
Yeah.
As I've gone along, as I went along. But it's. I think it's a disease, and it helps. I like to label.
Yeah.
Because I like to like be like that's who I am.
Okay.
Okay. So that's who I am. Now I need to adjust and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. So I don't necessarily like to put like hard labels on anything.
Yep.
I would say like you could label like I have personality or I have like extreme addiction or like I have like an extreme addictive personality. But to say like I can understand the power in that because
Right.
then there's ownership and then now
Hmm.
you can do something
Yep.
about it. I think the issue can come in is whenever you get stuck in that label or whatever you're calling yourself because
Right.
eventually, are you that forever? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whatever the case may be,
I am.
it doesn't necessarily have to be addiction, but like
Yeah. I really think you are. Like I know I'm never not gonna be an
yeah,
alcoholic.
right,
Like that's it's just how it is.
yeah, yeah,
Like I'm never gonna be able to
right,
have a drink or two. You
right,
know.
yeah,
Like that's me personally. I mean,
right,
that might be different for somebody else. There might be somebody else who's gone down the same path I did. Was a reckless drinker, used a bunch of drugs, party, had a serious problems, serious issues, went to AA, and then got out, and then in 10 years they can drink socially.
yeah.
Like that's possible. I mean, I'm sure
Well,
it's
even if they
possible.
can't drink socially, it's like, all right, well, I used to be an addict. I still deal with the addiction every
Yeah.
day, but I am no
Right.
longer that.
Yeah, that's a interesting conversation.
It's because it's kind of like people
Yeah,
identify with their jobs.
I
Like
guess
I am this, and then they
yeah,
lose that job, and it's like,
right.
well, what the fuck am I?
Like
You probably I'm a baseball player.
yeah, I think it's just perspective and how you look
Yeah.
at it. I do like to think about like I like to identify with it.
Yeah.
It honestly it helps me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong or
No.
anything. Sometimes I just wonder because I have a hard time with identifying with certain things because sometimes if you identify with something so long and then you lose it or like that's just a piece of you that
Yeah.
is not all
Hey,
of you.
You gotta do like what works for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's different.
100%.
And things work differently for certain people. Like for me, that's just I like
Yeah.
to identify as it. Because honestly, like that's who I think I am. Like
Keeps you in check.
yeah, and it helps in my recovery.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different ways to do things.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one right way.
That's the thing. Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways.
there's a lot of ways to make it
we
happen.
talk about it in the gym all the time. Like, oh, what's the best way? It's like okay? Yeah, there might be a best way for a certain person,
Mm-hmm.
but what's best for Adam isn't gonna be best for Stu.
Yeah.
Like in the gym.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, it's big to find out what works for you and,
Yeah.
and like kind of self talk like like for me like identifying is that helps.
Yeah, well, because then now it's concrete, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before, you probably, I can see where it can help because if
It was very gray before.
before
You know
it's
what I mean?
nothing.
Like,
Like, I'm not this, I'm
yeah,
not that. But,
It's
but now you have to own your shit.
right, and before very gray. Like, okay, doing this cocaine till 6 a.m. is that's not normal behavior.
Yeah.
So I got to stop that. But I'm gonna continue socially drinking. But then that went on for a couple of years. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I can't. There's no such thing as
Socially drinking for you, yeah.
Right? It's just not like
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, man. You just gotta have that hard
it's
line.
Really, it's
You just
hard
got-
to
you just gotta
explain.
have
It's
that
hard
hard
to
line.
like. It's
It makes sense what you're
yeah,
saying. I totally understand it.
It's dude, it's weird.
It's just
hard to explain.
Sometimes we just identify with these words.
Yep.
And then we act accordingly, and it's like I think it's like yeah, you are an addict, but you're not only an addict,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some people just identify their whole selves with this thing.
Oh, I like to think of myself as a lot more than just that, for sure. At least I hope so.
yeah, dude. Now, are you familiar with like kind of any of the research that's coming out as far as like addiction, depression with like some like the use of like psilocybin and some of these psychedelics?
No, not really. Like I'll listen to Aubrey a little bit.
Yeah.
Talk about like psychedelics, but that stuff's interesting.
Yeah, have you had any experiences with them or
Like so,
what are your
like
thoughts?
my experience. Like I don't want to go near anything that's gonna like alter my state of mind.
Okay.
Just because I'm like fearful of what that would trigger. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I never had a problem really with anything besides alcohol and cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to go like try to smoke weed because I don't know what that's gonna trigger.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
But specifically with like a psychedelic, like an ibogaine or which has helped a
Yep.
lot of people kick some
Right.
severe addiction.
Yeah. Like I get personally.
Yeah.
I get very like
Yeah.
hesitant to put like, and maybe it's just like that label of like, oh, I'm putting a substance in my body.
Yeah.
It's gonna alter my state of mind.
Hmm.
I just get weirded out about it.
But the way it alters your state of
Yeah.
mind, it's almost like rewires your brain.
Yeah, like it works for people.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if
Yeah.
if you've done much research on it.
Haven't
Or
done
too
enough.
familiar
I'm not
with
saying
it,
that, down the road I'm not gonna,
yeah.
be sold on it, but like I just haven't done enough research.
It's interesting the things that that they're doing with it for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you're just not wanting to put anything in your body, I
Yeah,
totally
I
see
mean,
why you
I'm a
wouldn't.
big fan of like meditating,
Yeah,
and I know Aubrey talks about from On It talks a lot about like taking certain psychedelics to meditate, and he can he always talks about like expanding his mind and opening his mind, and
Yeah.
some of his best ideas come from his meditative state when he's taking certain psychedelics.
Yeah.
Which I think is fascinating. But for me, and it's also like I don't know, with my experiences with substances, it's I just
Oh
I'm
yeah,
very careful about it.
100%. And the thing is, man, like we're in a society where it's transitioning. We're learning more and more, and people are having conversations and being more open. But I mean, there's just been a ton of misinformation and lies just kind of fed to people.
Yeah.
It's like, cannabis has no medical benefit and it's
Mhm.
going to hurt you, but drink all this alcohol that you want. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Which is poison.
Right.
Yeah.
But but cocaine has medical. It's class
Yeah.
2 has medical application.
Mhm.
So and heroin even has medical application.
Yeah.
So you're just we're told these things like LSD is going to rot your brain and different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not really based in any like science or truth. So
Right.
then people become weary of
Yeah.
things that could possibly help them or isn't really going to have a harmful effect of them, and
Right.
they're just sold this lie.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It is kind of funny how people rip on like cannabis,
Yeah,
but they're the same people that are
popping Xanax.
yeah or smashing booze,
Yeah,
eating fast
going to McDonald's.
dog shit food.
Make sure their kids are taking their Adderalls.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly.
I just
Right.
posted a meme about that. It's like,
I think I saw that. That's why. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
dude.
But it's true.
yeah,
I mean,
man, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's just the amount of misinformation, and not to say that these substances are compounds for everybody.
Right.
But yeah, you know what I mean. Like to each their own. But it's just. The more I've learned, especially with like ibogaine and different things, like some of these people are iboga. Some of these people are having some fucking profound experiences to where it's like I can't remember which podcast I was listening to, but this guy was talking about this lady who was treated. I think it was iboga, and then she came out of it, and whatever she had saw, she came to the realization like, why would I ever put that in my body? Like she just had this profound experience to where she just valued herself so much that she could never even imagine putting that needle back in her arm, because before like she didn't care, but now whatever happened just changed everything.
Right.
That shit just fascinates me, dude.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to think about, but yeah, dude, I don't know. It's not for everybody.
Addiction, alcoholism. It's interesting.
I know, man. This is fascinating shit.
Yeah.
I think we've covered almost everything on it. Dude, we've been going for well over an hour.
That's good.
Dude, time's been flying.
Yeah.
Time's been flying. I'm trying to think if I have any other questions about it. I don't really have too many. I think I've asked them all.
Yeah. No, I'd love to, if there's anybody, listening out there that that knows somebody or is struggling themselves, feel free to reach out.
Yeah,
I love talking about it with people, whether they're struggling themselves or they know somebody that's struggling or they're just interested in the topic.
Yeah.
I like to talk about my story.
So for the folks that are listening, what would you recommend to somebody if they are going through this right now? Like what
own it. You have to tell people like I'm struggling. You know what I mean? I have a problem with alcohol, or I
Yeah.
have a problem with cocaine. Talk to somebody.
Yeah, just
You
own
gotta,
it.
you have to like it's got to be out there. You can't like hide it, because if you're hiding it and being like, oh, I'm just not gonna drink,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work. You're just gonna keep going back.
Do you journal at all?
Not really. I meditate a lot,
Okay.
and that's I would almost think that's like kind of my journaling,
Yeah.
meditating like thoughts in my head.
Yeah.
But no, for somebody that's struggling, get it out in the open.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody. Go to a meeting. Go to an AA meeting. Those things are amazing.
It's
Honestly,
so uncomfortable, but
I know it's. Dude, remember the first time I walked in there? I've never been so scared in my life. And then they go around, they go around the room, and because I was a newcomer,
yeah,
there weren't that many people.
You
There
gotta
was probably
introduce yourself.
6 people. I'm Stu, and it's like you're like, wait, am I supposed to be here? You're like, is this for
I'm
me?
not like those people.
I'm not like those people. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. But honestly, like the AA thing, it's obviously Alcohol Anonymous, but it's like we'll call it like the 12-step program.
Yeah.
Man, everybody in the world can benefit from that. It's
Yeah.
really just like good like life principles. It's not just about like you're not learning like necessarily all about like addiction and alcoholism. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like good like self-help, self-development stuff.
Yeah. It's funny. The guy who started that program started that after psilocybin, after like doing shrooms.
I think yeah, I knew that.
And
yeah.
then he wanted to incorporate it into the 12 steps, but
Right.
I guess whoever else was doing it
Probably
with him
like,
at the time,
eh.
they're like, get the fuck out of here,
Yeah,
guys.
probably not.
We can't give drugs to more. to people."
Exactly. This is the place. Yeah.
Yeah, man. But apparently it helped him a
Yeah.
lot, which helped him develop the program.
Yeah.
Now, did you? I know you. So you didn't reach a point to where you had to have an intervention.
I mean,
you
I
came
had-
out to your.
I had a couple interventions.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, like, but they were always like at like 7 in the morning when I was like stumbling home, and then my wife would call my mom and dad and be like, "He just got home. It's 7 in the morning. Like something is really wrong." So we had a couple times where my parents would then come over and I'd be like,
but she never
down.
like walked into a room and.
never walked into a room sober, and there was like 10 people like. You're safe. You're okay. Like we all love you.
Stu, we love you.
Yeah, nothing ever like
Get
that.
the fuck out of here, mom.
Yeah. I want to go get my cocaine. No, I never like that. But there was, and like I said, my rock bottom was a cakewalk compared to like
Yeah.
I said, I never killed anybody.
Yeah.
I never got a DUI. I never got arrested. I never went to jail. And that's just not the case for a lot of people that suffer from this.
Right.
That go through alcohol and drug addiction.
Man, yeah, it's a
Because
definitely.
like I said, you're not thinking about consequences. You're just thinking about, like, okay, you've had 20 drinks throughout the day, and now you need your cocaine. You're gonna go drive.
Yeah, there's
You're
no
going to-
long term.
There's no. It's like nothing stops you from going to get that.
Yeah,
Like it's the
Yeah.
most powerful thing. Like you said, man, it's like
just deal with the consequences later, whatever.
yeah, you don't
happens.
even think. Yeah, you don't care. Like, oh, I'm gonna roll in at 6:30 in the morning. My wife's been sleeping for the last 8 hours. Like, I don't, whatever. I'm
Damn,
out.
dude. She never called you in the middle of the night. Like, where the
Oh,
fuck are you?
she did
texting
absolutely.
you?
Like, and I
Stu.
would be like, I'm out. I'm partying. Don't worry, I'm not having an affair. I'm not cheating on you.
Yeah.
But I'm out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh man, you got a good one, dude.
I know. And she's like, what the? And I would tell her, like, we kind of reminisce about this shit now. It's funny, like, 'cause
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I would be like talking to people at the bar, just like trying to be the center of attention, thinking I was cool.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, I'm sure like I would go up to these like groups of like there'd be 4 people, 4 friends,
And
and,
then
I
it's
would,
like,
and,
what the fuck
and
is
looking
this
back on
guy?
it, I'm like, oh, they probably love me, but like looking back, it's like they're probably looking at me like this guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, just talking about you when you leave and shit.
Exactly. Like, well, how about that guy?
Oh man, dude. Man, well, I'm so glad you came on and shared this, dude,
Definitely.
because I think this is just such a important conversation to have, so people can hear this. As humans, we all feel like we're the only one going through something.
Yeah,
It's
you're
hard.
not.
It's
You're
so
not.
easy. It's hard to see past your own struggle, though, right? And it's good to know that you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to
Right.
hear other people's success, it's like, dude, you can do it too.
100%.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. So I'm gonna turn the floor over to you. Plug your podcast. Plug anything
Yeah,
else. The gym,
definitely.
socials, whatever you want. man.
Yeah,
Anything
so
you want
like
to talk to people
if you
about.
want to, you can find me on Instagram. I think is the best place. It's at SBeath.
This will be on the notes too.
Yeah, and B as in boy, EATH. And then our podcast is the SoberSet podcast, SoberSet. And we're on our podcast. We have an Instagram handle too. It's at SoberSet.
Okay.
And then that's what I got, man.
Where can folks listen? It's on iTunes right
Everywhere. Yep.
Everywhere?
iTunes. I think we're on Spotify.
You guys on Spotify now?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So
now? Nice.
podcast store, all that stuff.
Cool. And I'll put all that in the show notes.
Awesome, man.
All right, brother. Hey, I appreciate it again.
Awesome
dude.
again, man.
All right, everybody.